right before Christmas. So
Like it.
2 weeks ago.
Something like that. But what's
It's
up,
happening.
people? We're here, and we are doing something.
Something special that's gonna piss off some nerds.
The start of something huge.
Yes, and we're not talking about our penises this time.
I mean, could be.
Star Wars versus Star Trek.
Who said we weren't?
Warp
If
speed.
you can't sing the theme song,
Lightspeed. We're ready. We're here.
And if you're gonna fight us on being here,
oh shit,
you're gonna have some
watch out for
problems.
Mick. Yeah,
You're gonna have some problems.
You're gonna have some problems, particularly for Mick, and you're
Yeah.
gonna want to listen to our Patreon episode
To figure out what
Yeah.
those problems will be. The $5 tier will solve everything, and you'll know everything.
Let me tell you something,
Mick will teach you how to fight on $5 tier.
Yes,
or
he
not
will.
fight.
yeah,
Yeah. We recorded a Patreon before this that
And it was fun.
a last
Our first
minute.
one of 2024.
Nope. Our first one of 2024. No plans for it, and for something that had no plans, God did it go off the rails.
It went great. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. But we're
yeah.
here.
So go
How's
check
it
out the
going,
Patreon for sure.
Yes. How's it going, though, guys? How is everybody doing? Happy 2024, people. We're fucking back with another episode of Popcorn and Pints.
A little around the room. First off, I want to thank anybody on a personal note that has reached out about my mom. So I appreciate that. I've seen it all.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Yes. And
That's very
we
cool
miss-
of you all to reach out.
yeah, we I'm not gonna lie, man, we missed you, but
Yeah.
with you in spirit, of course, because but hope you're doing as good as you can be. I don't know how to really say that.
This helps.
Yeah.
The constant stream of this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about lube?
No, not as much.
That's actually weird. That's actually weird.
That was a little inappropriate on your part.
It was, but that's
Well,
fine.
It's just Sturdy standing there with sunglasses on, singing "Return to the Mac," and I'm spraying lube into my hands.
I want to see Mick pop up in like the corner, like he is interpreting for deaf people, like he's signing like a sign language thing. Mick just pops up in the corner with a bottle of lube.
Oh, that's the new meme.
Like,
Someone's talking and Mick comes out of the corner just going.
yeah.
With a bottle of lube all over his hands. Oh my gosh! Which again ties into the Patreon. You guys, may the force be with you, and go sign up for that shit and check it out.
What's up, Paul?
Paul was good.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing, Paul?
May the force be with you.
I like it. You did both.
Yeah. So let's kick this one off, guys.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where we want to start with this.
Let's
Why
start
don't we
with
go
Star
with the
Trek.
older property first.
There you go.
Okay.
Start. As far as so the Star Trek.
Okay, yeah.
Star Trek motion
Now-
picture.
I don't even. We should probably talk a little bit about what exactly we're doing here, because I'm not even fully in the loop. How many movies are we looking at here between the two?
That part I don't know, but I can explain the whole.
I could tell you.
We're talking.
how many movies?
We're
There
talking.
you
We're
go.
talking 9 Star Wars movies, right?
No,
No, more than that, man.
13.
There's,
Is there? I'm thinking of the main.
oh no, they're doing
Trilogies.
all of them. 13.
So we're talking. Are we bringing in Rogue One and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So there should be 11. There should just be one more Star Trek. So there should be 12 weeks of this, and then 1 week where we do a Star Trek.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we're picking one from each and going against each other on what we think is better for.
Right in order of where they came,
In
where
order.
they come out, like chronological order.
Yes, and now where
Well,
this
no, not chronological order.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, wait, yeah, it is chronological order. Sorry, I thought we did, because I remember when Sturdy was talking about this in the beginning, we were wondering. But you're right, it is chronological. My apologies.
Yeah,
This isn't even my show, so I'm going to shut up.
So this all came
I was
from
fully out of the loop until last week. So
over on horror.
And I'm
Well,
on
the
the
idea, listen, the idea came over on horror with Sir Sturdy. because I did a versus over there. I did Nightmare on Elm Street versus Friday the 13th back in October during Sturdo Halloween. If you guys didn't, you can go check it out at the playlist for it. But check it out after the pod. Check it out after this episode though.
So,
But anyway,
before
so
we
I
give
was
our
like-
ratings, can I just say one thing to you, Sturdy, to see if it sways your rating at all?
what's that?
That Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, the crowd sounds were from the sound designer taking a recorder to a San Francisco 49ers game.
Oh,
Wow.
sweet.
I thought you might like that one. That's why I wanted to. I got a bunch of these too. So,
All right.
That's interesting. That's a fun
but
fact.
I figured I'd let that one out before your rating to see if
Okay.
it,
All right.
the hell?
Interesting.
That is interesting. That is. I don't know if it'll sway me or not, but it is interesting.
there's a lot when it comes to Star Wars, and when we get to A New Hope, I got some cool ones too. Well, I got
Okay.
one for all of them. So,
Oh, all right.
Ooh, I'm digging this. I'm digging this, man. But anyway, I
you
guess
can't put on these two. I have Star Wars tattooed right here. I got everything else going on. I haven't got my Star Trek tattoo yet, though. So
All right.
I will.
Okay.
Can't wait to see that. Can't wait to see that. But yeah, like I was saying, this all started over on Horror Research 30. I did a versus over there, and it was fun as fuck. Like watching two different franchises at the same time. For one, you get two knocked out at the same time at the end of the day, and two, it's just such a great experience. And I feel it is with these two as well. And I know they'll pick up as the movies go on and go forward and all that shit. But it was a fun time. I was like, I should try this over on Popcorn and Pints. I already know that the guys won't care too much because we want to try to test things for shit anyway. So I was like talking to Mick about it because he's doing sci-fi in January over on the Scene Snobs, and we always work together. So why not work together with the sci-fi shit for one, and two, he's helping us with this because he knows so much about this. Like since he was about 12 years old, he would masturbate to Star Wars and Star Trek. He still does now. So that's why we have him on.
No argument.
I've actually been masturbating this entire time.
I mean, he's had one hand in his pants this whole time.
I'm scratching both sides of my head with one hand. What do you?
Yeah, that's true. You
I
see,
went left
you see him
because
scratching his
Leonard
head
Nimoy
with
was
his right hand. That's because he's left-handed, and that's somewhere else.
Oh,
And I
man.
mean, he's but seriously, he's a really, really huge fan of both of these franchises, way more than we are. I'm a fan, kind of a fan.
Probably wash
casual,
your
I guess
hand
you'd
before you
say.
touch your mouth.
I have a podcast about it.
That too.
I have the Warp Factor Fiction podcast. We are rewatching Star Trek from beginning to end in chronological order. Right now, we're picking up this month. It's the first season of TOS. We have about 17 episodes. Go check them out.
So you're doing the shows too?
Yeah, everything.
All right.
So Babylon 5 and all that shit coming up.
Well, no, Star Trek.
Yeah.
Oh.
5 was.
I thought that was
not
part of
Star
it.
Trek.
No,
I
no,
thought that was
Babylon
part
5
of
is a
it.
different show.
Oh, okay.
That's a good show, though.
Get
Get it together, James. Get it fucking together.
What is TOS?
The original series.
The original series. Just okay.
When
Yeah.
the new the next generation came in, they just started kind of calling it the original series.
Gotcha.
They actually retconned it on one of the newer shows, Strange New Worlds. TOS means those old scientists.
Those old scientists.
This is Trek Talk. The Trekkies talk this way.
Trekkie talk.
TSO.
Trekkie talk. That's what this is.
Let's do it, man.
That's
Yeah,
all right. We can
let's
get
talk.
into this.
I'll talk some Star Wars too. You want to talk Wars talk? Let's do it all day long.
Boom. Peter Anthony. Already.
There he is.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
All right.
Can't, hard to argue.
So you guys want to dive into the ratings?
Yeah, we're about to argue.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do this.
So we're doing.
I still don't know. Okay, go.
All right. I know
What are
someone
we
who's
doing
eager
first?
and ready.
Motion picture.
Oh, motion picture. Okay.
Motion picture. And I know who's eager and ready. Guy
This
right
movie
here.
was boring as shit. I'm giving it a 4.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh, geez.
It wasn't bad, but it was boring as shit.
Not starting off good.
Shout
All
out to
right.
him.
I'm giving it a 6, and I'll explain why after.
He will explain why after.
So just to show some respect on this one, It is a slow movie. I get it, and then we're gonna get fully into this, but I give this a 6.5. And I'll tell my reasons, I guess, later. But I do like this movie.
Let me think. I'll give it a 5.5. I'll give it a 5.5. It was slow as hell.
I feel good with my 4.
You know what the biggest problem with this movie is? They didn't know how to not make it for the fans. Like, you have to have watched the original show to really appreciate this.
So what time?
That's what I was getting at. Because to me, I felt like I was watching 2.5 hours of Star Trek show.
Yeah, you walk into A New Hope back in 1977. You're like, oh, this is all new.
See, I was going to ask because I'm not sure what the timeline was. This movie came out in 79. What was the first Star Trek property to come out? Was it a TV show or before that?
Yeah, it was the original series. It was 1966 was season 1.
Okay.
So
and
Kirk and Spock.
I know
Bones.
we had talked about
Bones.
this.
I mean Bones. Yeah.
I know we briefly mentioned this at some point. You talked about the length of the movie and that they added 10 minutes of them just looking at the Enterprise or something, like showing off the Enterprise. Because there's the scene where
that was the worst scene.
Kirk and Scotty get in that little 2-man hub to go fly around the Enterprise.
I knew you were gonna bring this one up.
And I'm watching this. It's literally
like 5 minutes long.
It felt like 10 minutes, but it wasn't. Just flying around the Enterprise. It's a shot of the Enterprise.
I said the same
thing. A shot of Kirk's face back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for like 5 minutes. I'm like, get the fuck on with the movie. Like, now I'm angry. I'm getting angry that this is still going.
Okay.
They want to give you a whole diagram of the Enterprise.
That is not why they did it. Oh, James, you got to switch your mic over. That is not why they did it. You got to remember, Star Trek had a base. It had its audience, and it was a big one, especially for the time. This is the first time we really saw fandom. Coming off of Star Trek, you had people who were fans of stuff, but it wasn't the same. Like, and I'm talking about in movies, of course, music, the Beatles, all that stuff. Like, we had fandoms there, but movies or TV, the geek fandom thing. So when this movie came out, you're right. It is long. And I completely understand why you didn't like it and you thought it was boring. That 1,000% was not for you guys.
Mm.
Every fan that was sitting in the theaters during that is exactly what they wanted. And I was watching it even today, and my son was asking, he's like, so why are they doing so long? And he's watched the original series. I was like, now imagine waiting 50. I was like, you just finished the original series and you're watching this. Now imagine waiting 15 years. And they just and on the show, they would, like, the ship was famous, but it was just models, and it was just this on wires and stuff. That to me, it's not great filmmaking in terms of storytelling. Goddamn, I'm glad it's there as a fan.
That's fair. I'm not, like I said, I'm not mad at it. I just didn't really. Nothing really grabbed me from it. Like, I was hoping, but I do feel and I do hope that things do get better. And I want to say this as well. I used to watch this, the Star Trek show when it came on TV and all that stuff, but I was into it more so when Picard was there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I really became like,
Next Generation, right?
If I don't see Picard there, it kind of throws me off a little bit, which is, it's an ignorance for me, but that's just all I know, because that's all not all I've ever seen, but it's what I've seen. I'll say like 97% of the time, honestly.
Actually, I'm kind of sad for you, Chris, because before getting into comparing these two movies and franchises, since you're not going to be here next week, I still urge you to watch the movies.
Oh, I'm going to.
Yeah, because that second Star Trek
Wrath of Khan is the second one, right?
It is the best, hands down, Star Trek film. And First Contact maybe being a really hard rival, but and there's a lot of really good ones, and there's you're going to see some other bad ones. To me, this wasn't bad. It is boring. It's long, but I liked that about Star Trek.
I'm not like I said, I didn't say it was a bad movie by any means. I found
Oh, yeah.
boring, and I'm like, half this movie, I'm like, all right, get on with it, because like they do that back and forth, not just with when they're going around the Enterprise and stuff like that. That seems like a constant theme throughout the movie. Them like as they go into the fucking cloud, there's a back and forth. I'm like, fucking, I'm tired of this fucking camera trick or movie trick, whatever the fuck they're doing. You know, moving closer to the cloud, showing someone's face. I'm like, just get the fuck on with the story. Like that was part of it. That was the big thing for me through this. I'm like, this whole movie is watching them the back and forth where they're literally inching towards something. I'm like, for fuck's
It took
sake.
forever to get to that fucking thing. Go through there, that cloud.
Imagine too, it's like a 2-hour and 10-minute movie, and you can cut a lot out.
Yeah,
and it would just be a long episode. And I would like to see if people just like cleverly edited all of the extra out and cut it down. Would it be a better movie because there is more of a pacing to it?
I think so.
Yeah, it was the pacing of this.
Yeah,
I think
so. I didn't mind it because, like I said, it felt like I was watching just a really, like you said, long episode of a regular episode. Because I used to watch Star Trek with my mom years ago when I was younger. She used to put it on, but mainly her thing was Generation. But we used to watch the old stuff too, Kirk and Spock, and so I remember a lot of the episodes. So when I was watching this, I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, it just had the episode feel, not a movie feel. Did not feel like a movie at all to me.
And I think that's what threw me off, though, James, is like, again, going with me being with more Picard, because that's what I've seen the majority of the time when, back in the day. And on top of that, it was one of those things, again, as a kid, you up late at night trying to find something to watch, and not having cable, there's only a handful of channels, and Star Trek Next Generation would always fucking be on all night. Start at like 10 o'clock at night to like fucking 3 o'clock in the morning.
See, I'm a little older than you, Sturdy, because like TOS was always on at night. And so like that's where I would get into rewatching it. And now doing this rewatch, I gotta tell you, it is a vastly better show than it's ever given credit for, or how it's parodied. And I think a lot of people remember Star Trek, that old show, based off of parodies more than they actually do having watched the show. Like, just regular like TV fans or TV watchers and stuff. Because I'll tell you, there's some really poignant, great episodes in that show and great acting. There's some cheesy shit too. Don't get me wrong. It really is. But
and historic things that happened too. The first interracial kiss.
I love this fucking movie, and I'm so glad it exists because I love the V'ger storyline to it. And that is what, when we get to Star Wars, and I'll just say it edges it. I know we go by ratings, but like this one is a little bit higher. It actually would have had a 7 if the guy who directed it didn't direct it. Although I'm glad he did, because he's an amazing director. I realize that is a very confusing fucking statement.
It is. Let's not forget the child molesting dad from Seventh Heaven is in this.
That's true too. Yeah. And actually, the actress who plays Ilya in it, the Vulcan woman, she was a well-known Bollywood actress.
Was she really?
They whitened her skin for this.
Oh, wow. White face. Cancel it. Cancel.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Oh, shit.
But
and another funny thing about this, too, is all of them, they were afraid to show their age. William Shatner always, like, had such a weight issue from starving himself to look good and young in this. They used every trick they could in lighting and camera to make them look younger. And then by the second one, they were just like, we're just going to play the age into it.
Yeah. Like, you're just old, man. You're getting old. But you're an admiral now, damn it.
So Robert Wise directed this movie. He's famous for directing one of the best sci-fi movies of all time, in my opinion. The Day the Earth Stood Still. But he's also famous for directing West Side Story.
I see that.
And another movie that takes half a point off of this, he directed The Sound of Music.
Oh, there you go.
Fucking hated that movie.
I don't hate that movie.
Makes like you made that movie.
It's something I'll never.
I hate musicals in general, and that
I don't like musicals.
Did not help.
The Greatest Showman I can deal with.
that was
I
fun.
can watch
I
that.
enjoyed
That was
that one,
fine.
actually.
But I'm not a musical fan either.
Let's be real. Musicals got better as time went on in movies.
Yeah.
Well,
When it
I
became
agree with
more
that.
a movie than a fucking Broadway show on camera.
I agree with that, but still,
Mhm.
I'm not a fan of them.
No, it's not my go to. No.
You know what? Especially like Bring It On. I hate fucking where they just start singing about bouncing a basketball or something. I just want to punch them in the face.
Oh, Bring It On was just a cheer movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
I think you're thinking of
each
High School Musical.
Oh, High School Musical. That's it. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
High School
Okay.
Musical. Fuck that movie.
What's the name of the fucking
Zac
Zac
Efron.
Efron song? I love it.
Punch him in the
Yeah,
face.
I don't mind me if I just chime in with my
Zac
it's
Efron.
so much
Knowledge.
research for this fucking
your boy band knowledge and all that stuff.
So one thing I don't like about this movie
Uh-oh.
are the uniforms. And they're
Yeah.
they're
Yo,
the
they
most
look like
different.
pajamas. They looked weird.
Yeah, so
Oh,
what
there
happened,
was a lot of male camel toe.
Yep,
And
so much. There's one dude, he's reaching up on the bridge in the
Yeah.
beginning of this, and this
like
dude's dick
they're
is
giant,
so
they're
big.
fucking Star Trek onesies.
His
Ah.
dick is huge. So, and that can be a soundbite, whatever. I don't care. But
Dick is huge.
so what they did was they went with like these
Oh.
more toned down colors. They were going to make a TV show called Star Trek Phase 2. And then they wanted to make a movie, a sci-fi movie, and he pitched it as like, well, we have this. Let's just do a movie to
Mhm.
kind of, because Star Wars was so huge. So they wanted the colorful shirts on TV popped and they worked, but they were afraid those colorful shirts weren't going to work on the screen. On a
What
big screen. So they toned everything down. And it's a blessing and a curse because they were so bad, it caused them to create probably the best iteration of the uniform, in my opinion, which we'll see in Wrath of Khan, which is the red double-breasted with the black pants. So it sucks that this exists, but they were inspired by a cruise ship.
Oh shit.
So that was sort of like what they were going for with the look.
Interesting.
Now, are these, because you would know this, Mick, more than I would, because you're more of a fan, of course. But these uniforms we're discussing right now, are they popular in the fandom, or like something that fans want to have, or either a figure of it, or
I've
anything?
never
Just because
seen.
they're so, you know what I mean? Just because it's one of the, you know how like horror fans have it, like it's so weird,
yeah.
where everybody hates it, but everybody wants it. Is that one
Like
of
you
those
never
things?
see a sackhead Jason anywhere.
You're
I mean,
right. Not much. You will with the figures, but you don't see them much with the cosplay.
These
Yeah,
Star
no,
Trek
absolutely.
these Star Trek uniforms look more like adult pajamas with a
Yeah.
badge.
It was really bad.
With like
they
a
were really bad.
fake deputy badge that you would police like
Yep.
to give to kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like these at all, and I do like the Voyager, Voyager 7 storyline. Like this is something
that
we
was
sent
cool.
out,
Yeah.
which is
So-
kind of. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You know what's weird? Like I was fucking annoyed that there wasn't an actual alien or anything. I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
Like, well, it's a fucking
Technically,
satellite
it
that
is.
became sentient. That NASA launch. Come on, this is bullshit. I've been waiting to see some kind of
I love his rant.
race or some, actual life form, not some artificial.
He wanted
intelligence that
Kang in
became
there or
sentient.
something. Kang's in
Well,
the
I
movie.
hate
Just-
to burst your bubble, but you should be here next week because there's a very big villain that shows up.
I'm gonna watch Wrath of Khan. But I'm like, I just
I
spent
remember- I
two
remember
fucking
Wrath of Khan.
hours sitting through this nonsense, and this is what they gave me. Like,
Yeah.
listen, that could have. I feel like maybe if the movie was edited a different way, that could have been a perfectly fine storyline. Like, oh shit, like because there was some interesting stuff there. They NASA sends up a satellite, gets sucked into a black hole, learns everything there is to learn. It can't transmit. Somehow it becomes sentient because of all.
Because it went to the machine.
It's
planet
like
or
I don't.
something, right?
Yeah, but it
it
went to a
created
machine. I don't know. I was pissed off.
It's funny. Another piece of trivia.
It's like a totally different thing than what they had been built into.
They were the studio executives wanted them to rewrite it, and Gene Roddenberry was fighting with them on it about the ending because they thought that it was too far-fetched that a living machine could exist. So they went to Isaac Asimov, and asked him, and they said if he says it could exist, they'll allow. For anybody who doesn't know, Isaac Asimov, one of the most famous, most prolific science fiction writers of all time. Look him up. You have Google, check him out. So yeah, he and the reason they stuck with it was because Isaac Asimov not only loved the idea of that being what it was, he actually told them to change the phrasing from wormhole to temporal tunnel because it's more accurate.
Wow.
See, I don't have a problem with a machine having.
I know you guys remember.
Michael G. Tyson.
Michael G.
Hashtag Michael G. Tyson.
And
okay, I'm gonna give one more piece of trivia and then we can go to Star Wars because I have a ton of there too. Or no, you can do whatever you want, but you know what I mean. The only original prop in this movie from the television show is the communicator earpiece that Uhura wears.
Really?
Oh,
They forgot to make them, so she had to go and get them out of her storage.
That's funny.
So.
How do you forget something like that? I like hearing about stuff like that just because it's like it's cool because like they still make those mistakes and they still get it done.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like they find a way to get it done.
okay, let's also start with this. I forgot to mention this. We all can agree that Kirk is a dick, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kirk is a dick, but fuck, this is not a.
He's like an ego problem. He got a big ego.
Oh, but the ego works, but it just doesn't work in this.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another thing too. He's always had sort of an ego, and Spock and Bones always kept him at bay. Like they were his, one's
Mommy
a
and daddy
thinker, the other one's like a human. He's very into his humanity, so he like helps him rationalize because he can be egotistical and he knows it. That's why I love that yin and yang. And in the original series, like he is very egotistical. And in the second one, they give it a great explanation that he doesn't believe in no-win scenarios. He doesn't believe in it. So it makes sense when it kind of retcons this movie and you see that and you adopt that that's how it's always been for him. And that's the type of person he always is. Of course he would take away the commission of the guy to be the one to fly it out. Of course he's going to step in and be like, I don't believe in being, curbed. No, I'm going on the ship. I'm the captain. So that's why I think he is a dick, but I think that still works for the character personally.
Am I the only one that thought when they showed Ilea after she had been taken by with the red thing in her throat that I can't look at that and not think of someone trying to smoke a cigarette through their throat?
Oh, from Beetlejuice? Yeah.
Like anyone that has had some kind of throat issue from smoking, I picture them trying to smoke a cigarette through their throat. That's all I could think about when I was looking at her like that.
That's funny.
Actually, there out of nowhere, I had paused the movie at a perfect time to go do something, and I came back. It was when Spock was going into the inner
jetpack.
Yeah, he's in the jetpack. He's going into like the most inner chamber of the cloud there. Before we knew it was just a fucking satellite. And I unpaused it. And the first line I heard, and this actually cracked me up, was, "I have successfully penetrated the next chamber of the alien's interior." I paused it. I'm like, I had to rewatch that. I'm like, did I just hear him say that?
You did.
Dude, I can't. I'm so anxious to see what each of you, because it's not even the Star Wars, because the Star Wars, I feel like when you watch them, you're like, that was good, or you just didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek, some can be really polarizing. Some can be like, this was so fucking bad, where others are like, this is my favorite. I've never seen that with Star Wars. Generally, everybody sort of likes the same things.
Yeah.
Look, and another thing that annoyed me about this movie is like they're talking. So they released the robots around the Earth towards the end there. They're like, they're going to destroy the Earth if we don't tell them why the creator's not responding. And they're like, well, let's treat them. She's a child. She doesn't know what she needs. so we just treat her like a child. Like, so they're literally, that's their solution to this. It's like, fucking treat her like a child. Don't give her the information. Like, are you fucking kidding me? This is so anticlimactic that I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Yes.
I'm like, you're not, and this is even before they reveal it's just a fucking satellite.
You know, it's so crazy to me.
Treat it like a child. Just no, we're not going to do this because you're throwing a tantrum. Like, this is the whole fucking fight. Like,
that's Star Trek, man. Star Trek has its action, but and it has its good action, but for the most part, they're always trying to think their way out, and that's why I always like that. And Doctor Who were always like big for me because it's never about like we got to fight our way out. It's I got to outsmart this.
It's like
I knew that. I know that's a big part of Star Trek. It's not, you know, as heavily action focused or something like that on a big battle or anything like that. But I'm like, really? Treat her like a child? That's the solution?
Yeah.
Well, that's so, and I agree with that too. And here's the thing, because what you're saying is funny, and I like funny, so I want to respect the funny. But as a Star Trek fan, and we are insufferable, and I know this, it is Spock. That's how he said, because he's gonna say is like treat it like a child, because he's Vulcan, so it's pure logic. Yeah. So like, and that's what works for Kirk, because like Kirk's like, I don't know what to do, and like, because even McCoy says something like right after, Bones is just like, what are we gonna spank it? Like
yeah.
It's the humanity side versus the Vulcan. That's why I like it, and that's why that's very much how they were on the show too, like always bickering back and forth.
Yeah, because he has no emotion. Like when they first see Kirk, was like Spock, and Spock is just looking at him, and like Kirk is acting like that's not how he normally acts. The dude don't have emotions. That's what he does. He stares at you. And he's just like, huh? Like he can't show emotion, you know. But I don't know. It's just weird. He's like, sit down. Just sit down. He's like,
and was it Captain Decker wants to bang Leia even with that thing in her throat? In fact, he probably wanted to put it in her throat at that point. After like take that out. There's an extra hole. That's
this is like Armageddon. The first Armageddon. He sacrificed himself.
Yeah, I don't what exactly was going the birth of a new life form. I'm not entirely sure.
It was the sentient being, because it was so
he touched the creator, all right.
I think that actor Stephen Collins touched a lot of things, but
yeah. Yeah, a lot of things he shouldn't have.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I offend him? My apologies. My apologies, Stephen Collins. I don't give a shit. So,
dude, he, you know, just a quick side note, never was legally charged with anything from his admissions.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Oh well, a lot of times you got to. It's fucked up, but there's probably a statute of limitations.
It was the statute of limitations.
Yeah,
and he married like a 32-year-old super fan from Germany or something, and he lives in Iowa.
Jesus Christ. One more thing about him, which is kind of and this is for the Star Trek fans out there, and if you guys want to hear it. So Matthew Decker, who was the captain who got pushed aside, they don't say it in the movie, but he is the son of Commodore Decker from the episode The Doomsday Machine. So and that's a very good episode, so go check it out. And it's actually very similar to this. So I thought that was very cool, because there was a big at odds with his dad in Kirk, and now this kind of occurring. So for Star Trek fans, we're really going to get into it here on Star Trek and Star Wars. Don't worry.
Yeah, and I'm excited for it though, because like I've told you guys previously, I'm not very familiar with either one of these franchises. As far as Star Wars goes, it was 4, 5, and 6, and actually this one right here, the one that we're about to discuss in a little bit. And with Star Trek, it was the newer movies. I have no idea which ones, and of course the show Next Generation, like I mentioned earlier. So I don't really have that deep dive. I don't have that deep fandom. I'll say I'm a casual for both. I enjoy both for what I've seen, but it's one of those things where me and you were discussing the other day, Mick, to where it's like as far as franchises go, because I'm doing it for the pod, it's the only way I would do it. It's the only way I would do it is for the pod, just because it's like I have no other time, but it's like, okay, I'm doing it for the pod. We do these anyway, so fuck it. Same reason why over on the Scene Snobs doing Godzilla with Mick for as many episodes as I can make, because that's the only way I'm going to go through those movies. It's the only freaking way. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So,
and this is my final rewatch.
Real quick, pop up this chat we just got. OG butt stuff.
What?
What is it?
Now the name of this person is OG butt stuff.
What's going on? Pull it up. I guess
in our chat. So read this.
OG bus.
I heard in the new Star Wars, Chewbacca goes trans and is now called Chewbacca. So here's the thing you guys got to understand.
What the fuck?
Star Wars fans can be, and I get it. I'm not judging. I'm just saying there's a tumultuous love and hate relationship with Star Wars for Star Wars fans. And right now, I guess one of the I read it. The director of the new, I believe it's the new Rey movie, said there's plenty of like room for, we don't need to have a male lead. There's plenty of room for females to have characters in the Star Wars world. And a lot of people kind of rallied against it. And now that's the most recent thing. The one thing I will say in sort of defense, not of that quotes, but like of all the changes, is those last few, and I'm sure we'll get into them here, were very heavy-handed in their messages, and they made changes. They sacrificed story and they sacrificed a lot of things about Star Wars to make changes that seem like they were woke.
Yeah,
it's like, but it doesn't work. So. Serious X-Men. I like my women.
Okay, is this a bot? What's going on here?
I have no idea what's going on.
Who the hell is this?
I have no idea.
Oh,
OG butt stuff.
OG, okay.
anyways,
Real quick, would you rather pilot the Enterprise or Millennium Falcon?
Falcon.
Enterprise.
Enterprise looks way cooler. I'm the Enterprise.
And the Enterprise is a much more elite ship.
I was gonna say the Enterprise. Just again, I'm more familiar with it, and it just seems like a big ass ship. Like I just from going back and watching Next Generation, they got mad rooms in that shit. I'm like, yo, I'm fucking finding a room to podcast in. I'm making a studio, and yo, Captain Picard, I need a room for myself for my podcast. Who else has a podcast in space? Nobody.
Deep Space podcast.
Yeah, still watching horror movies and shit.
All right, Star Wars time.
Yeah, we can move on. It's Phantom Menace, probably.
Phantom Menace.
Beam me up, sturdy. Nah.
Okay. I don't know what to score this one.
Beam me up, sturdy. Yep.
I know what I'm doing, and I didn't think of it until we started. So,
what we got?
Okay. He's hot on it.
I'm just gonna go 5.
5. Where are you? /5. All right.
I gave Star Trek 4. This is a 5.
This is tough. Okay, I'm gonna go 6.5.
6.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna use a half. I usually don't, but
it's fair though. It's fair.
I'll go 5, and majority of that is because of the final lightsaber battle.
I like this one a little bit. I'll give it a 6.
So
I just like the more action in it, the fight scenes and the race and everything. There was like more fast-paced stuff. It was like more entertaining, kind of.
it was definitely more entertaining for me. What I'll say is I'm not a super fan of either one of these to the point where my feelings get hurt when somebody criticizes them like a lot. You can't make all the super fans happy or anything like that. In fact, I avoided watching Star Wars for as long as fucking possible. Honestly, I probably didn't watch any of the Star Wars movies till I was at least in my 20s, and I was born in '83.
Mm.
So, but and then I watched them just to know what the story was. So, and when did Phantom Menace come out? It was
99.
99.
99.
Yeah.
I don't think some of the effects hold up, but
No, but for the time, they were
for the time, yeah.
Oh, the time.
But listen,
they
this
look
movie took a lot of shit and still takes some. But as I'm rewatching this, I'm like, it's not that bad.
Here's the thing, like this movie did take a lot of shit, but I don't remember anyone saying shit like this like the first weekend it came out.
Yeah.
And we were all talking to each other outside the theater. You know, now I'm not saying that was the whole world or anything, but like,
yeah, but
you can kind of get a run. Like if you're talking to like 20 people and they're all like, oh man, it was amazing. Now, granted, I went home and I thought about it and I'm like, Jar Jar Binks sucks.
Yeah, a lot of people
I didn't think Jar Jar Binks showed up until the second one for some reason.
He doesn't really come back at all.
Right. I'm like, and so as soon as he showed up in this one, I'm like, oh fuck, it's Jar Jar Binks. Like that's all I remember, because he is super fucking annoying.
Yeah, his even the comedy parts weren't even funny. Like his tongue getting stuck in the blade and in the jet engine. I'm like, this is corny.
You know what it is with comedy like that is, I feel with some of it, you know how a lot of shows and a lot of movies, they'll copy each other on that time frame, whatever's like the most popular thing. So when that extra silly, stupid shit, at times it's funny, but it's only funny for that time period. And it's not funny like a year later or 2 years later, or maybe 5 years later, it's not funny anymore. So it's like, did we really need to throw this in here? That could have been one of those things with that. Maybe.
Let me ask you this. Even as not a huge Star Wars fan, I can appreciate what they are. Same thing with Star Trek. Like, I haven't watched a lot of Star Trek. I know not the original series. I know the one with Picard, New Generation.
Yeah.
That was the sticking point for my entry into Star Trek. But it's hard to argue that the sound of the lightsaber is not the coolest fucking sound effect.
Oh my gosh!
In movie history.
Since you brought that up, I told Nick this the other day. The lightsaber is my favorite weapon of like all time. It always has been since childhood.
Really?
It's so cool.
I have a hard time putting it above the proton pack.
Oh, the fucking I'm going proton pack.
It's so tough.
I never thought of this. Oh man.
Oh,
I don't
have a proton pack
I'm dead.
or a lightsaber?
Okay, so you pick your weapon, whatever weapon you choose out of all of this, whatever comes with it with that weapon, whatever you have to know to use. So basically if you have the lightsaber, you're a Jedi. If you have the proton pack, you're a Ghost, but so on and so forth. And for me, it's definitely the lightsaber.
Well, you're gonna want to be a Jedi.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as
hold on,
dude, what do you dude? If I swear to God, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut everybody off. If you had a lightsaber, the first thing that would happen, your eye would be out.
Oh yeah, 100%.
First thing. It's Ralphie all over again.
No, you're like, it won't light up. Why is it not lighting up? You're hitting on it.
You lose an eye, Sturdy. You lose an eye.
Listen, I built a potato gun when I was a teenager, and I'm like, why isn't it fucking lighting? And I made the mistake of looking in the back, and all of the flames came shooting. I almost lost eyebrows.
You could have, because you know who was originally supposed to play Mace Windu? Tupac.
Oh,
dang!
And he died.
That would have been interesting.
I want to say I knew that, but
I feel like I've heard that.
The lightsaber and proton pack, I don't know if you can compare those, because those are weapons built for specifically different things. One's built specifically to fight ghosts.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's true.
You're not out there fighting.
It was and they're like the most popular gadgets. What other gadgets are there at the top of your head? That's the first two that pops up. Oh well, yeah, you got the was it the
all his gadgets and shit.
Yeah.
Can we extend it to pets? Because I want Gizmo.
Oh.
Yeah. You want Gizmo? What are you gonna pour water on him?
No, yeah. I wouldn't do that.
No, he'll follow directions like a normal person, like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that at all. Like that'd be a horrible thing to do.
No,
that'd be cool. It would be cool to have Gizmo.
It really would be.
You have your little friend.
But like, so I watched Phantom Menace way back when in the early 2000s.
I forgot when I seen it.
And then what's weird is you watch it and just as a casual Star Wars watcher, watching it to see, what's going on with the stories and stuff like that, I'm like, it's fine. And then I sit through a decade of hearing all these Star Wars fans just talking shit about it, or more than a
Yeah.
decade or anything like that. Like it's one of the worst things to ever come along. And I'm watching it now. I'm like, other than the fucking cut between scenes that make it look like a PowerPoint presentation, which is a Star Wars staple, where just the thing comes across the screen and it switches on to the next.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's really not that bad. I mean, it's fairly
No.
entertaining. It keeps
Mhm.
the story moving.
goes with the story goes with the rest of all
Like
the other
the
movies.
pod racing scene, I'm like, this is pretty good. Like it's action packed for the whole time.
Oh, actually, you know what's pretty cool about that? You know that the stands with all the fans.
Mhm.
when you're like looking at it from like above, like a wide shot of them,
Mhm.
that's practical. That's not special effects. Those are all Q-tips
Really?
Oh,
with a
cool.
fan under it, like kind of and they colored like different colors for the
Really?
heads and stuff like that. And
Oh,
it's
shit.
so there's actually a really cool behind the scenes on YouTube you can find where they talk about the making of it and how they made it all work. It's very cool. Go check that out.
And one thing I looked up while I was watching this was Natalie Portman was actually 17 years old, pretty much, while they were filming.
She couldn't go to the premiere because she had to go home and study for her finals.
Yeah, because I'm like,
That's crazy.
and it's because the creepiest part about this is them kind of planting the seeds for her and Anakin when he's fucking 10 years old in this, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like in the next one, he's like 15 or 16.
Yeah. So I'm like, what exactly is the age difference here? Because there's a creepiness to this just a little bit. So
Hey,
like,
in a galaxy far, far away, you can't hold it against them.
yeah, I mean, it's like the
Different
deep
laws.
south
Different
where there's
laws,
no
Meg.
laws. It's like
There's
the
no
deep
laws.
south. It's the Alabama of space. Oh,
So what power would you want? Would you want like Jedi power or like Deadpool's healing factor?
ooh,
Deadpool. I'm too broken. I want to heal.
That's fair.
Oh, that's tough.
I like to think I'm in pretty good
Dude,
shape.
I'll be
I
rich.
eat a lot of shit.
I'll go.
and drink a
I'll
bunch
be
of beer.
joining MMA. Get my ass. I'll get punched at heels like in 2 seconds.
Well,
I'll be fucking people up.
he had to regrow a leg over time, like limbs. It doesn't.
Well, you're not going to lose a leg in MMA fight.
Yeah, but if a Jedi you loses a leg, it's not like you can grow it back. Like Deadpool can actually grow back.
That's true.
Like
I guess it would have
all
to
the
be
different
Deadpool.
limbs and parts that come off of him.
Then you get Deadpool with a lightsaber.
But if you're
That-
a good Jedi and not a shitty one, that's not something you need to worry about.
That's fair. That's why I wouldn't want a lightsaber over a proton pack.
You don't wanna
Maybe
take
if
that
you were
risk.
such a shitty Jedi.
Okay, let's talk about they hyped up Darth Maul a little bit. He wasn't that badass.
No.
They did give him he got his in the end because they did bring him back and he had a great finale. So I do
Okay.
want to point out for anybody who's not like who may watch this movie and be like, fuck, what'd they do? He definitely gets some respect in this. It did not so much this
I
one.
say that, but no, they made him like my apprentice. Like he's like super badass. And like the fight looked like he was like fighting like they were. Like he was like they're like almost equal. He just had a double-sided, like he was fighting with 2 fucking lightsabers.
Well,
He
he
had a
was good.
double-sided one.
dildo.
Well, dude. Well, okay. How crazy was it, even as a non-Star Wars fan? Because was that the first time where there's a fight in Star Wars? You're talking about the 3 movies that had come out in the 70s and 80s. Phantom Menace comes out. The first fight with Darth Maul when he's fighting Qui-Gon Jinn, and he hits the lightsaber. The one comes out, and then he hits the button again, and then all of a sudden it's a dual lightsaber. And you're like, holy shit!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, in the theaters, you went fucking crazy.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit, you're like fucking double-sided, dual lightsaber.
And that song, Duel of Fates by John Williams, is probably some of his best work of all time.
Speaking of, just because you mentioned the theater, Mick,
Mhm.
this movie right here, I feel like any Star Wars movie, the ones that I've seen at least, would be worth a theater watch. In my opinion, just the way the movie looks, the fast pace of the movies, and the fucking, of course, the lightsabers.
I get it. Listen, but the thing is, like, it's not as good a story. Like, we love the original, the Holy Trilogy, as I call them, right? So
Yeah.
why do we love it? And the lightsaber battling isn't as fast paced and epic because that's really all this movie has.
Yeah.
At least those they had some great story to them, and great character work and things like that. So, and it's just kind of the way it plays into it is crazy.
All right, Mick, I got a Star Wars science question for you.
Let's do it.
How does a
science fiction.
lightsaber work?
So it draws its power, from what I understand. I don't know all the ins and outs. It'd be great.
Does it draw its power from the Force?
No. I mean, it's one with the Force can help. A Force user can help wield the power that comes with it, and that helps.
Is that where the colors come from? Because I'm gonna say when they go shopping, do they go, I'm bad, so I need a red one?
You have to earn your Kyber crystals. Kyber crystals are all different colors. You dick.
You really do got to earn your colors?
Well, you have to so when you're in training.
Because there's blue, green. I know there's blue, green.
There's blue, green, yellow. Well, of course, there's red, but that's for the Sith.
That's all. Yeah,
only
that's
one purple. And there's other colors as well. They all represent something different in different areas. So
I see. I didn't know that part. Okay.
I
see. I didn't know you heard them. I was about to say, how do they know who's good and bad? I thought green and blue and red is always bad guy. So I'm like, oh, red. I was like, oh, he went shopping. He was like, where's the evil section? Off the rack.
Is it like Harry Potter trying to pick out his wand?
Yeah,
it kind of is. It kind of is in the same.
Now it would make sense if it was powered only Jedi's or Darth Maul. Everybody can use them because it's powered by the Force. Then it goes by your nature, you're good or evil.
No. That's not how it works. Just the Sith use the red. The new Star Wars will have Jedi. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah, just going crazy over here.
Yeah. I guess you didn't take the hint last time.
I appreciated the background in that Anakin built C-3PO and everything like that. The introduction to R2-D2, how he's the only droid that doesn't get shot off the ship that they're trying to save.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you could have a fun story of just a fun buddy comedy between R2-D2 and C-3PO.
I can't talk about them much because there's a very cool thing I want to talk about as we go on in these.
But it's later.
But there is a really there's a really beautiful reason that C-3PO was created by Anakin. And the astromech droid R2-D2 comes from Queen Amidala's personal ship. And I cannot wait. I will explain it in the next episode. I'm so sorry, Chris.
So he'll have to watch the episode, or maybe he'll watch it.
So let's go and jump in the future. So
I'll tell you after you watch it.
So when Darth Vader sees R2-D2 and C-3PO, why do he?
What was that? What was it? Are you having
Who?
Darth Vader.
He doesn't exist yet.
That's that one we got. That one we got.
No, I'm saying when he's in the future, when he's older, he becomes Darth Vader, and he sees R2-D2 and CP3. Why did he say, "Hey, I made you. Get the fuck over here, bitch"?
Okay, here's why. Now you're gonna make me say it on this episode. So R2-D2 is the astromech droid that befriended in Queen Amidala, and it was her personal droid on her personal ship. And of course, and Anakin created C-3PO. They follow. Well, if he doesn't take C-3PO with him, but when he goes back and sees him, that's when C-3PO goes with him. When he goes back to find his mother in the second one. By that time, R2-D2 is a servant and to Queen Amidala and close companion. When they get married, it's a hidden marriage, and they can't wear rings. So to signify it, they switch droids.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
So she takes on C-3PO. That's why Leia has C-3PO down the line, and R2-D2 goes with Anakin and becomes his close companion, and that's why he ends up with Luke down the line. And that's the gifts so that was how they knew each other's love, by giving each other their most prized droids. And that's the only gifts they both received from both their parents.
Nice.
Oh, look at that. That's
cool.
a beautiful story.
Yeah. It's a beautiful little detail that isn't spoken about much.
How many movies does R2-D2 is the hero? A certain
It
scene,
should
he
be
saved the
every
day.
single one.
I know,
It's
really.
every movie.
Yeah.
That fucking robot man does
Dude,
everything.
none of these humans survive without robot interference.
Yeah, R2D2 is like the fucking hero of all the movies.
Always.
He's either fixing something or he does a distraction or something that fucking saves the day.
Yes, it's called accuracy.
Yeah.
I love R2D2.
Don't we all?
That's
Just
him
watch
and
my fucking
Chewbacca
movie.
are my people. I love those
Yeah,
two so
It's
much.
yo, as I was watching this earlier, because I remember I said the other day that Chewbacca was my favorite, and I'm watching this movie. I mean, you know, it's Chewbacca, R2D2, and C3PO.
Yeah. I mean, everybody goes crazy for Han, and I love all those characters. Don't get me wrong. And even in this movie, like, it's just the story that's not that great. It's just too. It's not because it's funny because a lot of people argue like there's too much war in Star Wars, and I'm like, yeah, if that's really what people want. Stop taking the war out of Star Wars, and you have better movies. So that's really what the problem with this one was, because when it heats up at the end, you love like the last like 30-40 minutes. But the lead up is just,
you're true.
and for what, 20 years, and finally this is what we got. And I was like, I don't give a shit about this Trade Federation bullshit. Like, can we please just have tell us more about the Jedi?
Yeah.
Like,
it's like the Hunger Games game after, but it reminds me they're putting the politics in too. So they're going to have how that guy got in his position in the later movies.
And it makes sense.
So
it does make sense. Yeah.
From trying to make money perspective.
Oh, I argue it as and this is petulance. Really, what I'm doing is just arguing that like it's just not that interesting.
No, it's
but
not.
It makes sense for the story. You know?
Yeah. No. Yeah, I agree.
Don't take it out. Like leave it. Well, they could have been like get rid of Jar Jar fucking Binks.
When
really
Darth Maul finally finds him and goes to the planet, he drives away like he's going to find him right away. Like there's going to be multiple fight scenes. No, they go through a race. The whole thing until the end, then he finally finds him.
Yep.
When he goes gets Anakin to leave, and it's like the one fight scene right there. You're like, that's it. He's been on that fucking planet forever with the droids flying around looking for him. I thought there was gonna be way more fight scenes. I thought Darth Maul was like a badass dude. They made it where he was gonna find him. They were gonna fight him. They escape, find him again and kick their ass again.
Whoa! He killed Qui-Gon. He is a badass dude. Like
okay.
No. He lost to Obi-Wan Kenobi, which I could hard argue for the rest of my life is the GOAT of all Jedi. This dude defeated a lot of Sith in his small amount of time. Even as a Padawan, he defeated one. Like, this dude has... Obi-Wan is my favorite Star Wars character of all time.
I get that. Wow. I get that.
Okay.
But I'm saying if it wasn't for that fucking tunnel that comes with the beam shield where you're stuck every 5 feet like red lights, them two, they would have took Darth Maul out really quick. The only reason that dude lost because it was a one-on-one, but they should, if they were fighting together, Darth Maul would have died. So that's why I said they didn't make him that badass. They made it like, because they're in the beginning, they're like, oh, there's only 2 Jedi. That's nothing for Darth Maul. That's like basically that's what we're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when you're in this and you're a fan of it, you're watching that and you're saying that too. It's like, yeah, I mean, he's a badass. He could take out 2 Jedi. He's known for being able to at least duel with 2 Jedi at a time. But he didn't realize he was coming up against Obi-Wan Kenobi.
2 of the best.
Yeah,
that's true.
Like, oh no, and I'm not even talking about Qui-Gon. He died. I'm talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi. But although Qui-Gon was trained by Count Dooku, who you will see in the second one, and I want to point that out. Okay. So it's going to be a very cool thing to kind of get into. That's why I bring it up.
Yeah. Yes, and that's what I can't wait for is for when both of these stories get more interesting and they're kind of picking up more on like the meat and potatoes of everything. That really,
and
I guess that really got, maybe I don't know if it's what grabbed like people that originally watched these movies when they came out, and I'll say, of course, with Star Wars back when the original 3 came out, and Star Trek, of course, when this one came out. Like fans, and I don't know if the show came out first or whatever, but when people when fans really dove into these, I wonder if this really, like, what movie really grabbed them in? For you, Mick, what movie really pulled you into Star Trek and Star Wars?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. So I'll start with Star Wars. What pulled me into Star Wars was just Star Wars. The scroll. As a kid, you see that scroll even at home on a VHS tape with that music, and you are in. Lightsabers you'll never not be in. And here's the thing, like when I say this, when I said proton packs earlier, it's not that I think lightsabers suck. My wedding, we walked down an aisle of our guests holding lightsabers. So like
fucking awesome.
It's like but it's Ghostbusters. So like I want the proton pack. Like it's just a preference thing. It's not even about the movies or anything. So I love Star Wars. From the beginning, the first one, A New Hope, that's where I was in. Okay. As a kid watching that, having older brothers who were playing lightsaber battles with wiffle ball bats, like you're just in. I feel like Star Trek is harder to get into because it's not just for kids. So and I'm gonna be honest, it's written smarter. It's a
that's true. That's true.
Definitely.
So that's it. That episodically for adults, it's good, but kids can get into the whole fighting in space. So when it comes to Star Trek, what got me into it? So I watched TNG, like you said, when we were kids. That was like our Saturday night after Baywatch. We watched that. It was just on. And then and I liked it or whatever, and I understood it, and then I would watch old reruns at like my grandmother's house or something of Star Trek, the original series.
Yeah.
What got me into it, like really hardcore fan, and this is something I wanted to bring up to you guys for this show for the next episode. I love connection between like movies or shows in some weird way, like Blade Runner and Soldier are connected, and little shit like that. When my buddy told me that Star Trek, and this is our movie, that this is like Wrath of Khan is our movie. Like we used to quote that all the time to each other. He told me about Wrath of Khan. He's just going on and on about this movie. He's like, yeah, I love it. I watched it when I was a kid, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, what's so cool about it? He's like, I love that they continued it from one of the episodes. So to bring that up to you guys, there is an episode on the original series called Space Seed. It's in season 1. I think it's episode 20. That is a direct prequel to Wrath of Khan. That is where we meet Khan, and that is where Khan and Kirk become enemies.
Oh, shit.
So what I would suggest, you don't have to watch it, but I would suggest to get the full effect, you should watch that episode before you watch Wrath of Khan.
Can you drop that in our group chat that we're all in?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, because I'll forget. Because
anybody watching or listening or following along with what we're doing here, I would suggest that for you guys too. Watch that episode because that's where you meet Khan, and the fact that episode was continued like almost 20 years later,
So would watch the episode first or the movie first?
The episode takes place first. That before.
Okay.
Where are you watching the episode? Where can people find this?
It's on Paramount Plus. I mean, you can find it in a lot of places. I'm sure Amazon's got them.
Oh, all right. I got Paramount Plus. I got all that shit. So
yeah. So Paramount Plus has everything Trek. If you have Paramount Plus, it has, except for Prodigy, but that's a different story.
Oh shit! We have
I watched the movie today on HBO Max.
Oh, that's right. It was on. Yeah, you're right. Same here.
Yeah, I went to they have the JJ, like other streaming services have the licenses to play them. Okay. It's because Paramount owns the rights to Star Trek. They have everything.
That's good to know, though. That's good to know. So I'll probably head on over there because I know with Star Wars, I'm Disney Plus. So I'm like, boom.
Yeah,
Paramount Plus is our best friend during this rewatch of Star Trek.
Okay, nice.
It has it all. So I will just add one more thing to answer your question. So that was what got me into it, was watching Wrath of Khan for the first time, and from that point on, I just fell in love.
Nice. See, for me, and I'm not even into it. Not even fucking toe as deep as you are into it. But with Star Wars, it was more so one of my good friends, he was my next door neighbor when we were kids, friend Corey, but he had all 3, 4, 5, and 6, and that's where I first watched them, and I was just like, this is fucking awesome. This is just so cool. I didn't even care about. I know there was a story to it and all that. I didn't even care about that. I just wanted to go back and watch those over and over and over. I never owned them though. That's the funny part. I got Disney Plus now, so it's good. And then I remember talking to the wife about it. I was like, I would love to go back and watch the Star Wars movies, like from beginning to end, from part 1 to whatever. But I was like, there's just so many. And it's so freaking long.
And now you're doing it.
Now you're doing it.
Now we're doing it.
And I never thought, and I never thought of Star Trek, honestly, because I didn't know there was Star Trek movies for years. I'm gonna be honest, until the newer ones, because the wife would want to go to the movies and watch the newer ones. I just never thought of it. I just thought it was always a TV series. I never thought of it being a movie from back in the movies back in the day.
Can I guess which ones you guys will like and which ones you won't like?
Sure.
For Star
Trek.
Yeah,
I can do it for both. But Star Trek, I can
I've
usually
heard-
read
I've
people
heard-
pretty well.
I've heard the even numbers are the better ones.
True. They are.
sounds right.
So I will say and when I say not like you may have liked motion picture, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna say versus really liking something.
Okay.
None of you on motion picture, like I don't think you'd ever rewatch it again.
You're right.
I have no intention to.
Yes. Wrath of Khan, I guarantee you'll be watching it again. I guarantee you, if it doesn't become one that you'd be willing to, or at least willing to rewatch.
I watched it a long time ago. I don't remember it though. I remember Khan.
Shocked. I will.
Willing to rewatch. 3,
you guys probably won't rewatch. 4, you guys will probably hate. I love it, but you guys will probably hate it.
Is that the Frontier one?
No,
that's gonna be a fun one.
That one I like for certain reasons. The Frontier one's the 5th one. It is a bad movie though, but it is a weird, wild movie. 6 is one of my favorites. I love it. I think you guys will love that. 7, not so much. 8, you'll love. 8, you'll probably be your favorite.
Ooh,
and you'll probably like 9, but you will hate 10.
No. Wow. All right.
Okay.
So that is my and I really think it's just going to be the original trilogy for you guys with Star Wars.
Okay.
Maybe Rogue One too. Rogue One's phenomenal.
Rogue One, yeah.
Okay, one more question before I don't know if we're wrapping up soon.
We should.
Why? So Star Wars. Here we go.
Oh,
because I remember a lot of movies, like the movies I did watch in the battle scenes. They talk about the Jedi and the dark side, like Darth Vader, Maul. They use it a little bit, but why isn't there more of the Jedi powers not being used? It's mainly just martial art lightsaber fights. Like, why isn't no one picking up boulders, like throwing ships and shit at each other?
It just wasn't there yet. Like we get
Darth Vader, like Anakin was one. What did they say? He was like one of the strongest off the charts when he was a kid. He becomes Darth Vader. Why isn't he just like destroying people, like grabbing them and throwing them against fucking walls? And
because he's not there yet. He's not evil yet. You remember the visual effects from the original where they were at, like you couldn't really do, you could do force push, but it would probably look weird. You could throw things. It's probably going to be on wires.
Dark choke.
They did the choke. Yeah. Like, and that was, so like, it was more mystical in the
really
original.
hard to CGI out the penis in the mouth. That's
God.
He went there.
Yeah.
He did.
But like the most trick you see is they put their hand out and the fucking lightsaber comes flying back into their hand. And like you're like, okay, that trick, okay.
But that's the thing. So like, if you went from that, which we all loved anyway, because
I agree.
And then we went into crazy, insane. Like you can accept that they're the martial artists because all of these Jedi are young. They're in shape. They're practicing. Luke wasn't a Jedi by the first one. So, you know, and even and Obi-Wan died and Yoda died. So like, so you can't have a 20-year like gap come back and like that was the special effects on that one. There, you know, that was the lightsabers on that one, and then come to this one and be like, hey, by the way, now we have like Jet Li. You know, it's too fat. Like your fans would just be like, "This is too off. I can't take it."
Okay, I got you.
And all that time.
Well, I'm talking about even in the future when the powers get stronger, like Darth Vader. Like, why isn't he just collapsing shit with his power? Why isn't he just like taking?
He does
powers
as it went on. There are some there's some pretty amazing goddamn books and especially comic panels and stuff where just look at, oh no, you haven't seen it yet. Wait until you see the end of Rogue One. He ruins people in that, and it's amazing.
Okay, awesome. Because I was about to say, because like for example, during the training Skywalker movie we were going to see, he hit one of the part of the training, he had to lift the ship out of the swamp or something, right? Using his powers, like,
well,
the strength of Skywalker.
If your powers are, if you're unbalanced in the Force, it can throw you off. And the most unbalanced person using the Force during this time is Anakin. He is constantly suffering. You know, so like he's sad or he's mad and all of these things. So his balance is so off. What balances him is when he sees his kid again. So what unbalanced him was the thought of losing his mother and then the thought of losing his wife and his kids. Is what unbalanced him to go to the dark side. What balanced him back was the fact that he had those kids. He had that love of family again. So there was the balance again. If you are unbalanced, you're not at your strongest. You have to be direct. You have to focus on certain emotions. So like when he's intensely angry, and he's wrecking house, there's no stopping him. But he doesn't live in angry. He always lives with suffering, and it's always balanced. So like when he's that's why that last fight scene in Return of the Jedi with Luke, he's so unbalanced. He could have, I mean, he's been so trained for so long. How do you not
destroy him quick? Yeah.
Of course you're not. You're completely unbalanced. It's your son, and your master is telling you to kill him. You know, so like but that's, I think a lot of people don't put that thought into, and I understand why, because they don't put a lot of exposition or backstory into the Force. But you know, us Jedi fans, like, we go fucking crazy for it, you know, and reading up on it. But like, I think that's what really is why it's like this. There's an answer for almost everything in these.
And by the way, they have, like, I looked at the chart. There's like what, 60 Force powers. Now during all the movies, are we going to see every power?
You're going to see a lot. People, because TV shows are what really added.
Oh, so like there's one that said something about that you can self-destruct basically.
Well, there's one
you make yourself into a nuclear bomb.
There's one where you can resurrect life.
Yeah, you can fucking make zombies and shit to help you.
No. You can bring people back to life.
They just bring them back to life. Okay.
You'll see that in one of the movies, and we can get into it more. I love that question. The questions about it, but I know we're killing Chris. Poor Chris.
Yeah, I'm falling asleep. I'm not gonna.
All right, I'm gonna shut up because you can keep me going for days.
Yeah, Chris, if you want to bounce though, you can.
Not because I'm disinterested. I'm just so fucking exhausted.
I don't blame you, but I feel bad because I keep everybody going. You can't talk about these things.
I know. You got so much knowledge of this shit. Yeah,
it's so funny because I don't share this shit over on my channel. Like I do. Like I'll talk about stuff when it comes up, but for the most part, like we have these topics, I don't get geeky about the things I truly love. That's why I like coming on shows like this.
This is one of them.
Definitely.
This was a fun one, though. This was a fun one. But guys, look, we'll be back here again next week at 9:00 Eastern time, live, doing part 2 of both of these films.
What's the names? Mick knows.
And so you're gonna watch Star Wars: Attack of the Clones.
Yep.
Okay, I see that one.
It's
Ratakan.
But I do urge everybody, if you really want to be a part of it, you should watch the episode of Space Seed of the original series.
Okay.
Yes, so again, please drop that in the group chat, man, because I want to check that out. And yes, make sure you guys go check out the Scene Snobs. Go check out Warp Factor Fiction. Go check out everything over there. They're doing some dope stuff. Go check out Stories from a Bar as well. There's some dope stuff over there. And of course, Popcorn and Pints and Horror with Sir Sturdy and Late Nights with Sturdy. That shit,
you can just go to my profile and just check me out, period.
There you go.
He means his OnlyFans.
There you go. But come check us all out. We're gonna keep doing this. This is gonna be a long, fun journey.
It's gonna be a long one, but hey, by the end of this, we might be fucking Trekkies and Star Wars fans too.
Well, look, we're gonna learn a lot more. We'll see. we're gonna be our.
I know part of my wife's family's gonna be happy. I'm gonna go visit them. They're gonna talk about something about Star Trek. I know what they're gonna mean, and they're gonna go look at me and go, "What?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I seen that."
Yep. Been through it. But we're gonna wrap this one up, people. Thanks for popping by, and peace.
Peace out.
Peace out.